You mortals call it creation. You always have. You speak the word with reverence, stolen from gods with pride, borrowed from forces you barely comprehend. You repeat it as if repetition itself could sanctify your actions. Creation, as though naming something grants you the authority to shape it, as through imitation, one the same as origin. I was patient once. I watched you all as you learned how to make fire and mistook it for mastery. I once watched you as you learned language and mistook it for wisdom. I watched you as you learned to record history and believed foolishly that remembering the past meant you understood it. You learned to build and you mistook construction for purpose. You learned to destroy and you mistook survivalness for righteousness. And when you finally learned to create life, not through birth, not through balance, but through death of principles you did not earn, you mistook capability for provision. I gave existence its laws not to imprison you, but to protect you from yourselves. Time was made finite so that moments would matter. Space was made fast so that conflict would disperse rather than collapse inward. Distortion was exiled so that malice would not infect reality unchecked. Every boundary you placed was mercy, and you saw boundaries as challenges. You probed at the seams of reality, not out of desperation, but out of vanity, naivety. You tore fragments of creation apart and examined their mechanisms and declared yourselves ready to improve upon them. You believed that because you could not replicate life, you were entitled to redefine it. That belief gave birth to your virus. The Nexus Virus, the very one that blazed your world. Do not insult me by calling it an accident. It was inevitable. Many prophets spoke of such a cataclysmic plague crossing the world, the land, the sea. I now see why. The Nexus Virus is what happens when creation is severed from humility. It was when life was engineered without reverence, without restraint, without acceptance of consequence. It is not malevolent by intent. It is hollow, endless replication without meaning. Existence without purpose. Existence reduced to propagation. It knows you all perfectly. You asked why. Why it spreads uncontrollably. You asked why it resents containment. You asked why even gods seem unable to halt it. The answer is simple. You built it in your image. Nile the strengths against it, but even time cannot erode what's never allowed to age. Her powers diminish day by day. There is no natural beginning to unravel, no ordained end to reach, and the virus exists outside the rhythm of time. I'll give that space around it, yet it seeps through every fold. His own power will recede, and he could die. Space cannot hold what is designed to ignore separation. What recognizing no boundary between here and elsewhere, between one host and another. Giratina watches from distortion, and even he recoils. This is not his domain. This is not chaos born of imbalance. This is order stripped of soul, a far more dangerous thing. Even distortion cannot rot what was never alive in the first place. And you look to me now. You pray. You borrow. You kneel. You beg. You ask why I allow this. You mortals have failed me for the last time. Not because you sinned, but because you refused to learn. I did not forbid you from reaching higher. I warned you to carry humility with you when you climbed. I did not deny you knowledge. I trusted you to understand that knowledge without wisdom is a ruin. Again and again, you mistook my silence for absence, my restraint for removal, my patience for weakness. You believed that because I did not strike you down immediately, you never would be struck down at all. That belief ends now. Understand this clearly. The virus is not my wrath. It is your verdict, authored by your own hands long before I spoke judgment on them. I did not place it in your world. I merely seized to prevent it from revealing what you truly all are. Life is sacred because it ends. Choice is meaningful because it carries consequence. Creation is divine only when it accepts responsibility. And you rejected all. You sought eternity without stewardship, power without accountability, creation without reverence. You recoil at the cost. You kneel and ask for mercy as though mercy is owed, as though countless lives you shaped, consumed, infected, erased by your hubris were acceptable collateral in pursuit of progress, as though survival alone were proof of virtue. Hear me now and remember this moment, for there will be no second warning. I am not enraged because you failed. Failure is the soil from which growth springs. I am enraged because you persisted in failure while calling it illusion. I am enraged because you taught your descendants to repeat your mistakes, to glorify human rights, to question innovation divorced from ethics. I am enraged because you dared to believe yourselves my successors rather than my students. The Nexus will run its course, not because I delight in suffering, but because correction is the only knowledge you have left yourselves capable of understanding. Some will endure, some will adapt, most will not, and that too was always the design. Know this, mortals, if life emerges from the ashes of this record, life that remembers humility, that honors limits, that treats creation as covenants rather than conquest, then I will watch in silence once more. But if you dare repeat this sin, if you again dare to shape existence while scorning the weight of godhood, there will be no virus, no correction, no reset, only erasure. You were given a universe and a world to tend to. You chose to remake it in your own fractured image. Now face what you have made. I am Arceus, and this judgment is final.